Okay, friends, we're going to take just a few minutes and walk through some of the models for how to divide fractions. So hang around and we're going to get started. All right, friends, we're going to start this morning with dividing a whole number by a fraction. So if I have two wholes, which I just happen to have here, two Pop-Tarts. They don't look very appealing on the screen there. I think these are s'mores. So if I have two whole Pop-Tarts and I am going to divide those Pop-Tarts into 1/3, what that means is I am going to take each Pop-Tart and divide it into thirds. So there is 1/3 with that Pop-Tart. And here is 1/3 with this Pop-Tart. So now I can easily see that 2 divided by 1/3 is going to leave me with a quotient of 6. I now have 6 pieces of Pop-Tart. And yes, my kids will be extremely excited to get to eat those. So that's how we would divide a whole number by. Okay, now we're going to look at dividing a fraction by a whole number. So let's take another Pop-Tart here and take a look at this. I am going to need sections of 1/3. So let's cut this guy up into thirds. So remember that 3 means that I have 3 pieces. This denominator tells me how many pieces I have. Now I am going to, it says 1/3 divided by 2. So each of these pieces I am now going to split into 2 pieces. So there's 1/3 split into 2. Here's another third split into 2. And here's my last one. There's another third split into 2. So now looking at this, I took that 1/3, each of the 1/3s in my whole, and I split each 1/3 into 2 sections. If I look at this, how would I represent one piece of this Pop-Tart? I have a total of 6 pieces here. So I'm going to make 6 my denominator. And 1 piece. So 1/3 divided by 2 gives me 1/6. Because I had, you always work from one whole. We always have to acknowledge that there is one whole. So I took my one whole and I split it into thirds. So there's my 3 pieces. And then each third I split into 2 pieces. So there's 2 of each. And then I find out how much one piece now represents. So that one piece represents 1/6 of the. All right, I also want to take a look at how to do this on a number line. So if I'm dividing a whole by a fraction, the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to show my whole number on this number line, just like showing how many Pop-Tarts I had. And then one would be somewhere there in the middle. So I showed my whole number 2 on the number line. Now I'm going to go in, just like these were my Pop-Tarts. There's one Pop-Tart and there's another Pop-Tart. And now I'm going to go in and I am going to divide each of my Pop-Tarts, or each of my whole numbers, into thirds. So here's 1, 2, 3 sections for that Pop-Tart. And then for the other Pop-Tart, there's 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to find out how many pieces I had all together. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces all together in my Pop-Tart. A good way to check this and remember, a whole number divided by a fraction is always going to give you a whole number. So just kind of keep that in the back of your mind so that you can double check your answer. All right, let me flip here. And now here is another one. This one is 1/3 divided by 2. So this 1/3 I need to model on my number line. So over here I'm going to put 0. And over here I am going to put 1. So I need to split that 1 whole into thirds. So, okay, so there's 1 piece, 2 pieces, 3 pieces. I'll number these guys here. Now it's asking me to split each of my thirds into 2 pieces. So here's my first third. I'm going to split that into 2 pieces. See, there's 1, 2. I'm going to split this section into 2 pieces. And then there's that last one I'm going to split into 2 pieces. Now my question is, what fraction of this is 1 little piece? Well, I can see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total pieces, and 1 little piece of it would give me 1/6. So always keep in the back of your mind that a fraction divided by a whole number is going to give you a fraction. I know sometimes you get a little confused there. All right, there is one other method that I want to review with you that you've probably seen in OLS. Back to this, what we would call a brownie pan method. This is exactly what I just did with that Pop-Tart. So let's pretend that this is a Pop-Tart. And the first thing I'm going to do is split my Pop-Tart into thirds, because right here my denominator tells me I need three pieces in that whole Pop-Tart. And then I have over here my divisor that's going to tell me that each of those thirds needs to be split into 4 pieces. All right, so I can do 1, 2, 3. So there's 4 pieces there, 4 pieces there, and now there's 4 pieces here. So the question is, how much does 1 little piece represent? So how much does 1 little piece represent? Well, I can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 total pieces. 1 piece is going to be 1/12. So let's take a look. Let's look at this if we were looking at that Pop-Tart again. So here's this Pop-Tart, and I need to split this Pop-Tart into thirds. So there's 1, 2, and 3. Each of these pieces is now going to get split into 4 pieces. Now, I could try and just chomp straight through here, but I know the Pop-Tart will crumble into lots of little pieces. So let's see if we can do this without completely destroying our Pop-Tart. Okay, so there is 1/3 cut into 4 pieces. Oh yeah, lots of little crumblies. Okay, so there's the next third that's cut into 4 pieces. And here is the last section. So this is just like this model. just like we drew it, except drawing it leaves you with a lot less of a mess. So that is how we would model that. And some of your teachers might call that, you might hear them say the brownie pan method. We use the Pop-Tart method just because it's easier to cut. So in this same method here, here's 1/5. So I'm going to split my Pop-Tart into 5 pieces. And it doesn't matter which way I split them. So let's see here. There's 1 piece, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces. And now I am going to divide each of those fifths into 6 pieces. Well, let's see here. So I need to divide it this way. All right, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces, but I need to know what one little section represents. So what does this one little piece represent? Well, I know I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I have a total of 30 pieces here. So one piece of this that we've now all chopped up is going to be 1/30. So that would be your quotient. All right, I also want to just take a minute and look at a few of these that you might have seen in OLS that might have given you a little bit of trouble. So they gave you a model here, and they ask you to match the model with the equation. Well, look, I have 1 whole and 1 whole. Think about my Pop-Tarts. So there's 2 Pop-Tarts, and each Pop-Tart is divided into thirds. So I have 2 Pop-Tarts total, but each Pop-Tart is divided into thirds. So my correct answer here would have been 2 divided by 1/3. Because when you're looking for the divisor, you're looking how much each whole is split into. All right, so that's one that you might have seen in OLS. Here's another one. And this one definitely was a little bit tricky. They gave you the area. Now, if you can remember from 4th grade, area equals length times width. They told us that area equals 3, and we can see here that the width is 1/4. So we don't know what this missing number is here. This is kind of like algebra. So I'm going to look over here at my answer choices, and I see that I have 12 divided by 1/4. Okay, well, I've got to figure out what this question mark is here. So how would I do that? Well, do you remember that division is the opposite of multiplication? So I could say 3 divided by 1/4 equals, and then whatever my quotient would be. So yes, B would be the correct answer here. But take a look at these. This is 12 divided by 1/3. Yes, there are 12 little blocks up here, but we're not dividing. That's not, when you see the dash line, that's how they've split it. So we're looking at that 1 whole. Or actually up here, I apologize, it says 3 wholes there. So that wouldn't have been a good answer there. And then 3 divided by 1/12. I know a lot of you chose that one because they gave you 3 and then you saw that it was split into 12 pieces. Well, that does, I understand your thinking, but for this one, you had to go with this 1/4 that they've given you over here. So you would need 3 divided by 1/4, which then you would definitely find out all right. All right, let's look at one last one. I apologize, we're having technical difficulties here. Some of you might remember this one from OLS. You had to look at the number line, and over here your whole number for the number line is 4. So there's 4, there's 3, 2, 1, and 0. And each whole is split into 3 pieces. So from 3 to 4, that's one whole. That is split into 3 pieces. From 2 to 3, that one is split into 3 pieces. So you are going to have 4 wholes. Think about 4 whole Pop-Tarts. That's a lot of Pop-Tarts. And each Pop-Tart is split into 3 pieces. So your answer choice would have been A here, 4 divided by 1/3. Think about the Pop-Tarts. This would look like 4 Pop-Tarts. So there's one whole Pop-Tart. There's another one. There's another one. And there's another one. Each Pop-Tart is split into 3 pieces. So I have 4 whole Pop-Tarts, and each one is divided into 3 pieces. All right. All right, and I just want to take a quick moment and go over standard algorithm. This is not a 5th grade skill, but we know some students are using this, so we want to make sure that they are using it correctly. Remember, you cannot divide by a fraction. As I say, it's illegal. You will get arrested. You cannot do it. So here's what you would have to do. Remember, a whole number is actually a fraction. It can look like this. So in order to actually divide by 1/3, so 5 divided by 1/3, here's what that would look like if it were all written nice and organized. Excuse me. Remember that we have to do the opposite. You remember how when you learned fact families, all of the numbers were still there when you did, let's say you could do 3 times 4 equals 12, or you could do 12 divided by 4 equals 3. That's a fact family. We're basing how to do this on sort of the same premise. We are just going to take this division sign and we're going to do the opposite of division, which is multiplication. And then what we have to do is we are going to multiply by what we call the reciprocal, which just means we are going to stand this guy on his head. We're going to flip him around. So instead of 1/3, I now have 3/1. And now I can just do basic fraction multiplication. And I can say 5 times 3 is 15 and 1 times 1 is 1. So I know that the quotient over here would equal 15. So if you're using standard algorithm, which let me say again is not something we're actually focusing on in 5th grade, that's how you do it. Because I know a lot of you are using this. So in this scenario, this 2 actually would look like this. So I would have 1/3 divided by 2/1. Because I cannot divide, let me write it down here a little larger. Because I cannot divide by a fraction, I am going to multiply by the reciprocal. So I'm going to flip this guy so we have a 1 up here and a 2 down here. So now when I multiply, I have 1 times 1 is 1 and 3 times 2 is 6. So my quotient here would have been 1/6. So please make sure if you are using that to check your models that you are using it correctly. I hope you guys have a better understanding of the models now. And so if you have any OLS lessons that are still causing you some problems, or if you're still a little confused, come see your math teacher during content time on Fridays, or email your math teacher and let her know. All right, fifth grade friends, I hope that you have a better understanding of division with fractions now. And now some of you can come and have breakfast with me and have a lot of not so nutritious Pop-Tarts for breakfast. My kids will be super happy. But have a great afternoon, and let your math teacher know if you need any more help.